Hey, it's Jason from Fraser Valley Rose Farm. Lots of snow up in the mountains there, but it's nice down here. So I'm taking an opportunity, as I always do, to do some activities that will improve the condition of my plants for next year. And that is winter cleanup. So I'm going to start with the hellebores. I'm going to take you around the yard to show you some other things that warrant some cleanup right now. At the very end, if you want to stick around to that, I'll give you a discussion on some other plants that would require it, as well as the concern that some gardeners raise about whether pruning at this time of year is bad for wildlife. I think those claims are largely overstated, but stick around for that and I'll give you a link. Let's start with our hellebores, and you can see I've taken off a lot of material already, and these are the plants that they're coming off of. So hellebores have kind of an interesting cycle. They bloom during the winter or very early spring, and you see the flowers are fully formed and coming up now. But the leaves that I'm taking off are last year's leaves. Shortly after this flower formation and the beautiful flowers that they'll produce, they will send out fresh new leaves. And what I don't want to do is carry over the diseases that happen on these old leaves. I want to give you an example here. I'll hold one out in front of the camera. Hopefully we'll get to focus on that. But have a look at how marked that up is with dark spots. Fungus. That's last year's messy leaves after a full year of growing, and if the new leaves emerge while that's still up, it can very quickly infect them with that same disease, and we'll basically get an unclean carryover of foliage. So I'm working through the beds here and taking off the foliage, and I'll show you that basically on these ones here, it's very easy now to identify the center of the plant where the new flowers are coming up, and then just cut around the perimeter. It's getting pretty hard to identify them as it now, but these are hydrangeas. I have a fair bed of hydrangeas here, and something they struggle with is Cercospora leaf spot. And I'm not identifying this as that leaf spot, but you can see they are a little bit susceptible to leaf spot disease. And what will happen is they overwinter the spores of that. The way it carries over on the plant is by dropping down into the leaf litter below the plants. So a quick raking at this time of year can prevent problems, or at least reduce the incidence of it in the next season. During the summer, this is a very attractive shrub called ninebark. This one comes up with mahogany looking leaves, really gorgeous. I use it in cut flower arrangements, but something it's very vulnerable to is powdery mildew. And that might not be so easy to see right now, but you can have a bunch of leaves on here that you can see are super persistent. Like they just basically want to melt down and then hold on in the center of that shrub. And of course, that is going to give that powdery mildew a perfect way to jump back into the fresh new growth early next season. So you really have to get in there and actually more or less either remove some of those little stems on the inside. That's good for air circulation anyway. Get rid of those stems that are congesting up the center of the shrub, but also to remove those leaves by whatever means necessary. And whether that's a blower or basically a gloved hand pulling it off of those stems, that's great. Then of course, getting around there and raking out some of the fallen leaves from below it can definitely help a lot too. Another good example is peonies. Peonies can suffer from something called the bud blast on their young flowers early in the spring season, and that is caused by botrytis blight. It isn't overwintering kind of a spore, it actually is kind of a rot. So the standard in peony production is to cut down the stems right to the ground and remove so that you don't end up with bud blast the following season. Okay, so you know I'm a rose guy, but roses have a bit of a problem in that they definitely hold their foliage far later than many other plants. It's kind of a genetic thing. If you were in Southern California, they'd bloom all the way through for you, but here they will start their buds and not quite open up when it gets to cold weather. By the way, case in point that buds can become more deeply colored in cold weather. This is actually Julia Child, which usually comes up kind of a butter yellow. Here it's appearing with the buds looking orange, but of course those will never really open. Now, to the point of cleanup, you'll notice that some of these persisting leaves actually have what looks like black spots still on them. But you know, roses are not a single problem species. For foliar diseases, they can get black spot, they can get powdery mildew, they can get rust, and they can even overwinter thrips and the like on their overwintering foliage and the foliage that drops down into the base of the plant. So for that reason, I do a pretty consistent cleanup. The timing of it may vary. I may wait a little bit later until I've had a deeper cold and some of these are looking a little crispier, but if that never comes, I still have to do my cleanup to give myself a clean start going into the following season. So I'll do a full cut down and clean up, get something that looks a little more bare. I mean, this is not bare of leaves, but you can see what I'm kind of going for, kind of an open shape that would go with the spring pruning. And then I usually accompany that with a spray of dormant spray. In my case, I'm going to be using lime sulfur. Dormant spray may vary by region, but that can help me to knock down those overwintering spores and overwintering insects as well. Alright, so I've given you some examples of plants that do benefit from this winter kind of cleanup. I'm going to put a list up on the screen right now of some other ones that are common to your garden. Not all plants are equally valuable to do this way or equally susceptible to overwintering spores, but the ones on the list give you a good idea that there are some common ones that, that you should address or could address at this time of year to improve your garden for next year. Now, some of the concerns that people say, and you'll see memes like this floating around all over the place, is don't do your cutting in fall, don't do your cutting in winter, leave those stems standing for the bees. Now the problem with that approach is, number one, it doesn't take into account the health of the plants, as I've talked about in this video. Second of all, it's largely overstated. What the memes don't tell you is that the bee experts don't really go along with this wholesale. Locally here, for instance, I attended a seminar by Dr. Elizabeth L. from SFU, and I don't mean to horn in and state her opinions for her, but she said that the benefits of leaving it standing are somewhat diminished in our climate because most of our bees are overwinter in the ground, not in the stems. What I've seen from other studies, and I'll link those as well, is that it doesn't benefit from the stems that you just cut now. It basically have to leave it standing for a second year. So they don't go into the first year cut stems, they go into second year cut stems. So unless you're planning to leave that stubble standing for 2 years, they're not getting the benefit that you think they are. What I want to do is I want to link you to an article that I'm going to build on my webpage. It'll talk about more about these plants and their specific concerns, and then it will also give you some perspectives on that idea of whether you should leave stubble standing. I'll try to be balanced about it. All right, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them down below in the comments. I'll see what I can do to help.